The American dream was supposed to be simple: work hard, take care of your family, build a life you can be proud of. But somewhere along the way, that dream began to shift. Slowly, quietly, almost invisibly, it began to vanish. And most of us barely noticed. In towns that once thrived on factories, where the hum of machinery and the laughter of neighbors filled the air, silence now lingers. Closed doors, empty streets, and "for sale" signs mark what was once hope. Children grow up hearing stories of a life that seems farther away than the stars. You arrive in a new city full of promise, carrying a suitcase of dreams. You work 2 jobs, sometimes 3, just to pay rent and buy groceries. Every paycheck seems to disappear before it even lands in your hands. Bills pile up. Health costs climb, education costs climb. Life becomes a struggle to simply survive. And yet, society whispers that you must be lazy, that failure is your fault. But the truth is not so simple. The truth is, the rules have changed, wages have stagnated, but the cost of living has soared. Rent eats up more than half of many families' income. Healthcare is a luxury, not a right. A college degree is no longer a ticket to security, it is a debt sentence. You start to wonder, is this really the land of opportunity, or is it the land of invisible traps? We watch our parents, the generation that believed in hard work, age quietly into struggle. They worked their entire lives, and yet retirement feels like a dream they will never reach. Their hands are rough from labor, their eyes tired from years of responsibility, their hearts heavy with compromise. They tell us, "We fought for a future for you." And yet, we arrive to find the battlefield already lost. Immigrants come with hope burning in their chests. They arrive with determination, ready to contribute, to build, to endure. But they are met with walls they cannot climb. Jobs are scarce, wages unfair, discrimination subtle but persistent. Dreams are taxed before they can bloom. Every victory feels like a temporary reprieve, every setback a reminder of the inequality that runs deeper than numbers on a spreadsheet. The working class fights every day, not for luxury, but for dignity. They wake before dawn, labor in the scorching sun or freezing cold, come home exhausted, yet still smile for their children. Their sacrifices are invisible to the wider world, but they are the backbone of a nation that often forgets them. And yet they persist, because hope, stubborn and unyielding, refuses to die completely. But there is a quiet despair, too. A whisper of disillusionment passes through families. Children notice the strain, the anxiety in their parents' eyes. They learn that effort does not always equal reward. They see neighbors forced out of homes, friends giving up on careers they loved, communities fraying under pressure. Slowly, a culture of caution replaces ambition, of survival replaces risk, of fear replaces hope. And in the middle of this struggle, life continues. Birthdays are celebrated in modest homes, not grand halls. Graduation caps are thrown in tiny apartments instead of stadiums. Families gather around kitchen tables instead of restaurant patios. Love endures, laughter endures, humanity endures. Yet, the system that promised prosperity quietly chips away at their potential, one invisible expense at a time. Some cling to faith, some cling to dreams, some simply cling to each other. They remind themselves survival itself is a victory. And yet, the dream that once inspired nations, ownership, freedom, a chance at progress, feels like a story we tell children to keep them hopeful, not a promise we can truly deliver. It is easy to forget that behind every statistic, every report, every news article, there are human lives. There are families who sacrifice sleep for security. There are fathers who skip meals so their children can eat. There are mothers who work night shifts, returning home to cradle infants they barely see awake. There are students working library jobs to pay tuition, dreaming of a future that feels like it belongs to someone else. The American dream is not gone, But it is hiding. It is buried beneath bills, beneath inequality, beneath a system that rewards the few and asks too much of the many. And it calls to us in whispers to remember what it meant to hope, to fight, not blindly but intelligently, to demand fairness, to demand dignity, to demand a life where work and reward are not strangers. The dream lives in those who wake up each day and face the impossible with courage. It lives in the immigrant carrying hope like a torch through the darkness. It lives in the parent teaching their child that kindness matters more than wealth. It lives in the small victories that no headline will ever capture. But if we do not see it, if we do not acknowledge it, the dream will die quietly. Not with fanfare, not with collapse, but with silence. And a generation will look back and ask, what happened? Why did it slip away? And the answer will be written in the empty streets, the unpaid bills, the exhausted faces, and the homes that no longer feel like promises. So we tell this story, not to inspire despair, but to awaken awareness. Not to assign blame, but to remind ourselves that hope is fragile, that opportunity is precious, that justice is necessary. The American dream can still be saved, but only if we see it clearly, care for it fiercely, and fight for it relentlessly. Because one day, when we look at our children, we will want to see light in their eyes, not shadows. We will want to see opportunity, not limits. We will want to believe that in America, work can still bring dignity, effort can still bring reward, and dreams are still possible. The American dream is not dead. It is waiting for us to notice, for us to act, for us to bring it back from the quiet.